Welcome. One of Africa's most interesting names was taken away purposefully in 1884 at the Berlin Conference. Do you know that name? Is it important? Why should we know this name amongst many other names like Ethiopia, Sudan, Kush, or Mwenemtapa? My religion is Kamitics. Ubuntu Ma'ati consciousness is my spirituality. I am a Kamitician. This is Preacher Rabbi L.M. Dumizulu of Marifado, our inheritance. Sestati Lifaret. Let's look at this topic. An unusual name for Africa. An awareness of an incredible meaning. Changing names of items or things changes their identity if anyone doesn't know the history. The name of Africa has been changed many times. Changing the name of the continent in 1884, 85 has made it easier to divide it, to loot its wealth. How? Because Africans would not easily think of uniting to fight back, but would embrace their Euro-created nations and continue to kill and maim each other to keep their small little enclaves, paddocks, which they boast of as their country. False nationalism. Eventually, they will call other Africans foreigners and burn them alive and chase them out of their so-called countries. Renaming had many other benefits for those that renamed it. History could be rewritten for the colonized, belittling them as humans who had no achievements in their history. Also, their identities could be switched around. Some can be given identities of nations that they don't belong to. Africans would easily lose their totems, their tribes, their religion and spirituality, making it easy to divide them at home in Africa and abroad in other lands, so-called continents. This opened up Africa, and vast amounts of wealth continues today to be stolen and allows Arabia, Europe, and the United States to continue to have massive wealth, top-notch social services, disease-free waterways, amenities, and many other great infrastructures built by the resources that came out of the Berlin Conference and slave trade. But what is that unifying name that was taken away at the Berlin Conference? Is it Al-Keblan? No. This term Al-Keblan, though it is popular, was introduced to Africans by Europeans of Arabia and Turkey, so-called white Arabs today. The Ahmadis, during their enslavement and plunder times in the mid-1800s, introduced this term. Nevertheless, it didn't last long because the Western nations who follow Christianity and Western Judaic philosophy stopped all that and continued to want to use the term Africa. Therefore, it is not the unusual name for Africa that we are searching for. Is it Africa? Africa, we read, originated from the Egyptian word Afrika. A very good meaning, powerful meaning, which is translated to motherland. That was the Dr. Van Ivan Setima. Africa comes from the Arabic word fik, or frik, which means separate, divide, or conquer. Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. It is also reported the spelling of this word Africa like that originated from Romans who conquered Carthage and identified the continent as Africa Terra, feminine form of Africos, meaning the land of the North African tribe Afri. Other theories for the origin of the spelling of Africa stems from the adjective for Africa in Latin, afe, which means black or dark, and Africa meaning sun, or Ofi meaning the land of God, which is identified in the Bible as found in Southern Africa. Africa, the current misnomer adopted by almost everyone today, was given to this continent by the ancient Greeks and the Romans. This was Dr. Joseph Ben Yochanan says. So which name can we say is good for us, and can we say is an unusual connection to us? Because that's the problem. You see this map here, it shows us a lot of other places. You know, Western Africa, from Mali there, Nigeria, right across to the Sudan or Ethiopia, was known as the Western Sudan, and this part was known as the Eastern Sudan, and this central part up to Southern Africa was known as Ethiopia or Kush, right there. Then we got Lower Sudan. This is West Africa, so-called Namibia today, Angola, Gabon. All these countries were known as Western Sudan, and the other lower part in West Africa, where most of the slaves were taken, was known as Upper Guinea, and the Ethiopian Ocean here, and the Ethiopian Ocean here, not yet changed to Atlantic Ocean. So this is what we are dealing with. This is what we should know. And then we have Nubia or Nubre and the Marua and other places there. So we're still searching for that name. There's a power in names. Naming is extremely important. It is the preeminent act of political domination. When others name you, they own you. All your names carry your signature, your spiritual signature, your identity, your history, where you have come from, where you are going, who is you is actually defined by your correct name. No matter that name was given to you by others. Those who name you eventually will control your thoughts, and will do so through educating you. Those who educate you control your thoughts control your brain, and produce ideas, if allowed, in your brain. So once we say Africa and we give you a map like this, you have your brain will refuse and want to turn it the other way round. So it's programming, it's a training. We must deal with hard facts to perceive beyond emotional and questioning gullibility. There is no need for us to continue to ignore our original names, many names that we have had. There is another powerful name. Have you heard of the continent known as Nigritia? This is Nigritia. The Western powers changed the name of the continent from Nigritia to Africa at the Berlin Conference of 1884-85. Why? Because Nigritia identifies these people all over the earth, identifies all these with a lot of very rich history, envied and copied and stolen by many others. Let's define Nigritian from Webster's Dictionary of the 20th Century, 1943. We get this from the Sacred Word site, this website. Nigritian, of or pertaining to Nigritia, a district of the Middle Africa inhabited by true Negroes. Nigritian, noun, a native or inhabitant of Nigritia, a true Negro. Nigritic, pertaining to or characteristic of Negroes or of the Negritos, Papuans, and Melanesians. Very powerful meaning. We shall come back to it in our conclusion. So when you go to the map of Africa, 1776 and 16th century there, you find the places like that. I said this is Western Sudan, which is correct. Also Ethiopia, the whole of it. Interior Ethiopia or Western Ethiopia, also correct. And this is the Ethiopian Ocean, so-called Atlantic today. And now here is Guinea, which we were talking about. You see, Mediterranean there. They name it that. And we've got Dahomey, and there's no Nigeria. You can see that. No Ghana there on this map. It's there, Ghana, somewhere here. And also, you can see here Terra Nigritarum and the Nigroram and Ethiopia up to Zimbabwe, South Africa, Mozambique, Malawi, Namibia, Botswana. That's Ethiopia, southern there. Or Kami, that's the other name that was used for southern Africa. An 1800 BCE to 500 BCE map by Herodotus shows Nigritia as the name of the whole continent. As force conquered it, the area named Nigritia shrank, right? Became smaller and smaller until it has completely disappeared altogether from today's maps and reference books. You can see here a 1776 AD anvil map includes a note about Edrisi, the Nubian geographer, who indicates Negroland or Nigritia. There. Of course, now they are now including Atlantic Ocean, which we know is the Ethiopian Ocean or Cushitic Ocean. And that's all that we have to know about this. So this name, Nigritia, is part of our own identity. This is Dave Ramsey, a copy of the 1736 AD map by Mall of Negroland and Guinea. So this Negroland that you talk of true Negroes, is what is called Nigritia on some other maps. Again, you can see there is a part of Ethiopia there. All of it, Southern Africa, as they identified it. Again, we want to look a little bit at the two names that have remained, that still retain the term Nigritia. These are the two countries, Nigeria and Niger. Now, Shaw clearly recognized the existence of various nationalities in the geographic space under the forced control of British colonists when she stated, within these limits of Nigeria contains many widely differing characteristics of climate, country and inhabitants. Because the borders were drawn willy-nilly. This is not a country. There should never be countries like that. There should be never a country called Niger. There should never be a country called Nigeria, Mali, Algeria. All this was called Western Sudan, or Western Kush, Western Ethiopia, or Western Nigritia. And this was called Central Nigritia, and Eastern Nigritia up to there, and the Northern Nigritia and Southern Nigritia. That's correct, because then it identifies the inhabitants as well as the continent or the country or the land. You see, its history is ancient and is not wanting in dramatic elements of interest and romance. Go to this website, the Biafran WordPress. Nigeria, as we call our latest independence, is not properly a name. It cannot be found upon a map that is 10 years old. That's when Shaw wrote that. See that? Flora Shaw. Nigeria and Niger are still retain the Nigritian vestige. That's our proof, our number one proof that the whole continent was called by the color of the people that lived there. Of course, there are many names for regions and places and all stuff like that. But the term Nigritian is complete and total name. You see, it also applies to many other people that are not only in Africa. These names, once they are, like Nigritia, once they are removed from books and the memory, they become lost because they have been murdered and killed and buried and forgotten. After one generation, no one remembers them. The liars can then continue to tell us anything, which they are still doing up to today. Their eraser from our history causes us to lose our bearings, and we become cows in a paddock. Small secluded, and our nationalism and sovereignty is promoted by our leaders who are more of puppets of this kind of history based on the Berlin Conference. All the African Union or Organization of African Unity is not for us. It's for Europe to continue to control these paddocks. And then when we are in these paddocks, so-called countries, they can then come and vaccinate worms into us. Like how we vaccinate our own cows and cattle in the paddocks. So why is the name Nigritian, though it is of Latin or Spanish origins, be termed here in this video as an unusual name for Africa, or a unique name for Africa? Because this name, Nigritia, has incredible uniting power, and it has no continental locus like Africa, but it has race focus. We define it again and read the definition again and expand on that on those definitions. Nigritian, of or pertaining to Nigritia, a district of Middle Africa inhabited by true Negroes. Nigritian, noun. A native or inhabitant of Nigritia, a true Negro, Nigritic, adjective, pertaining to or characteristic of Negroes, true Negroes, or Negritos, found in all islands on earth. Papuans, found in eastern oceanic regions. The Tongans, the Samoans, the Fijians, the Melanesians, those found in India, everybody there is known as Papuan. and Melanesians, the Aboriginals found in Australia, found in New Zealand, the Maoris, everyone. So you see how powerful this name is. Very, very powerful name. We were known as Negritians in the United States and globally throughout the early 1900s until they, on their own, gave us another new name or promoted another name with the meaning to their conquest of our land. That's the name Africa, named by the Romans when they conquered Carthage, which is Carthage. So get this book, Social History of the Races of Mankind, First Division, Negritian, 1885 by America's Featherman. You can get it from Amazon, a little bit expensive, but very worthwhile to have. Applied knowledge is power. Once you know, you will be able to intelligently discuss the so-called major names that identify our old real history and the journey to today. That way, we can reverse the scam that has taken place. It is a scam that has cost the freedom and livelihood of billions of melanin-dominant humans. Not to mention the abhorrent, self-inflicted hate and the paradox which we call our countries and nationalism, which enables part of us and some of us to commit great genocide of our own race. You too can contribute in this reawakening fight. Send us your email on join@marifado.com. This is Spiritual Rabbi LM Dumizu saying thank you. We are all Negritians. Have a good day.